Good evening and welcome to Political Forum. I'm your host, Dartesia Pitts, and tonight on Political Forum we're welcoming our guest, Illinois State Representative Elgie Sims. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to begin a discussion with our state representative, and we encourage you to call in and join us. The telephone number is at the bottom of your screen. You can call us at 312-738-1060. As you know, Political Forum is a public service show that we bring to you weekly, and we have different guests talking about the topics that relate to you. All right, Representative Sims, again, thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Okay.
This is one of those forums that I always enjoy doing because it gives me the opportunity to talk directly to constituents, and I love that.
Okay. Well, we know that, I just told them that you are the representative for the 34th District. Mm-hmm. Can you let the viewers know where that is?
Sure. It's on the south side of Chicago. Starts in rough boundaries, about 73rd Street on the north, state to Cottage Grove, south into the southern suburbs, goes Bishop Ford, east to Torrance, then south out to Steger Road. Steger Road, we go east to the Indiana border, and west to I-57, south to Manteno and Momence. So I've got, it's very big, 55 miles north to south. I've got probably the most diverse district in the House. I've got the south side, the suburbs, and then rural Will and Kankakee counties.
Oh, wow. So who are your corresponding state senators?
The state senator in my district is Senator Don Trotter.
Okay.
He's been there for a long time. To my east is my colleague in the House, State Representative Marcus Evans.
Okay. And if people wanted to know exactly where you are, I'm going to put your district office up. And that's 8658 South Cottage Grove.
We've got a wonderful facility. It's got space for community room, and we've hosted a number of community events. It's a great facility.
And you have a great website too.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, let's start a little bit just about your background. Can you tell us a little bit just about yourself? Who are you?
Sure. Well, before I do that, let me do this because I'm going to get in trouble if I don't.
Okay.
Hi, Kennedy, McKenzie, and Mommy. You can Kennedy, McKenzie, go back to doing your homework. But I want to say hello. I promised them that I would. And again, I don't want to get in trouble.
They should call in and say hi.
Born and raised on the south side of Chicago.
Okay.
Parents are small business owners. I'm a small business owner myself.
Okay.
After high school, I went to Illinois State University. I graduated from Illinois State, and I went to the University of Illinois at Springfield, where I received my master's degree. Also, while I was in graduate school, I worked for the Senate Democrats. And at that time, I was on the Senate staff. At 24 years old, I became budget director for the Senate Democrats, managing a $50 billion budget and staff of about 20 people. And after 10 years, I decided I want to do something else. So I left the staff and I went to law school. I graduated from Loyola University School of Law here in Chicago. Married my beautiful wife. We have 2 beautiful kids. We live in the Chatham neighborhood on the south side.
Okay, welcome, counsel. I am also a counselor, so it's appreciated.
Thank you.
All right. So it's good to know that you have the experience. Of course, we know that you have the wealth of knowledge, and we actually just learned today, as we come upon this election season, that you have a glowing endorsement from the Chicago Tribune.
Yes, I'm very happy about that. The Chicago Tribune called me one of the rising stars of the Black Caucus. Talked about some of the legislative work we're doing. I'm very proud about that. I'm very proud of the work that I'm doing in the House. I believe that my constituents deserve nothing more. I think they want someone who is answering the call of duty and providing the services that they expect and demand. And we're doing that. We're trying to give them all of the products and services that they deserve. And that, by products and services, I mean those events we're going to be talking about in a little bit.
Okay. Well, pick up that Chicago Tribune, because then you can learn more about State Representative Sims. If you are just now tuning in, you're tuning in to Political Forum. We are interviewing and talking about different topics with Illinois State Representative Elgie Sims. Please call and join in on this discussion with and the telephone number is at the bottom. And we have a caller already.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You both look very nice on TV.
Thank you.
I like the way you said hello to your children. That's very nice.
Thank you.
I live up around the 41st Ward. I got Mary O'Connor up in this neighborhood. But I wanted to ask you something, Mr. Sims. How long have you been down there as, what are you in, the 34th Ward?
34th District. I'm just finishing my second year in the House, running for re-election right now.
What do you do for the neighborhood? You help them out a little bit down there? And
Quite a bit. We're going to be talking about a couple of the programs we've got coming up. We've got our senior health fair coming up tomorrow, as a matter of fact. It's going to be a wonderful event. We're talking about, we got healthcare forum. We're going to talk about issues of concerns to seniors. We've got a number of vendors. We've got about 30 vendors who are going to be there, including PACE and CETA, talking about services for seniors. Because what we want to do is make sure that they've got all of the opportunities and options available at their disposal, so they can make informed decisions. It's important that we do that so that they stay informed. In addition, we've got a college fair coming up on Saturday. It's our first annual, and we're going to have schools from across the state, including Illinois State University, Northwestern, Loyola. They're going to be there talking about their schools and the importance of going to college and preparing for college. We're also going to have the Illinois Student Assistance Commission, who's going to be there talking about funding college. So we're always trying to make sure we provide services for our constituents, so that they know what their government's doing for them.
So you mentioned first the Senior Health Symposium that is going to happen Thursday, October 23rd, 9:30 to 2 p.m. And I see you have lunch provided and free flu shots.
Yes, ma'am.
So can anybody attend this, or is this specifically for the people that are in your district?
We'd certainly like to make sure it's available to people in the district, but we'll certainly, we don't close off our borders to anybody. If somebody needs services, we're going to provide it. We don't get caught up, and that's one of the things that, again, I've had some wonderful mentors, one of which is Senator Trotter, and one of the things we always talk about is we don't get caught up in the borders.
Okay.
And we want to make sure that, as you mentioned earlier, I'm state representative, so I represent the entire state, and we act accordingly. So if there's somebody who needs services, we're going to provide it.
And one more, you said the college fair. You have these nice, overheads. I wanted to make sure that we were able to show the people who are tuning in.
Well, yeah, the college fair, again, it's get ready for college. We've been talking to the universities, and I'm blessed to have a couple of wonderful institutions of higher education in my district, including Chicago State University and Olive Harvey College. South Suburban College is very near my district. So we're very blessed to have partnerships with those institutions. So we really want to make sure that individuals have the opportunity, if they so desire, to seek out a higher education. We know that a higher education is the quickest path to the middle class, so we want to make sure that we're providing that opportunity to people.
Okay. There's a lot going on in Springfield right now.
Oh yeah.
And one of the really popular topics happens to be the medical marijuana. Couldn't bring you on without mentioning that it was a front page on one of the covers of the papers the other day. What is going on now as it relates to that issue?
Sure. Well, I know that there was a number of applicants who filed applications with the state. I know here in the city of Chicago, there are individuals who were going through the application process. There were several applications that were approved for zoning here in the city of Chicago. There were several that were rejected, but I think most folks are kind of going through that process now. The applications were turned into the state, and there were many more applications that the state even anticipated.
Yeah. We have one more caller. Hi, caller.
Yes,
Hi, caller.
This November, the voters are going to be asked whether they support increasing the hourly minimum wage to $10. I just want to figure out what is your take on minimum wage? I know here in Chicago, they're looking at raising minimum wage anywhere from $10 to $15 an hour. So what do you think the state's standard should be?
Well, I'm one of the sponsors of the bill. I believe that we need a higher minimum wage. I've had conversations with businesses in the district about how that would impact them. But at the end of the day, my perspective is no one should work 40 hours a week and live in poverty. And we understand that You've got to pay individuals a living wage. $8.25 is it's very difficult to raise a family on the current minimum wage. So as we move towards raising the minimum wage to $10 an hour, I think it's going to have a drastic impact on the quality of life of people throughout the state of Illinois.
Well, thank you, caller, for calling. I think that's a great segue into talking about some of the other bills that you have sponsored.
Sure.
Are there any particular bills that you want to bring up and let your constituents know that you are a part of?
Sure. Well, one of the things that I'm particularly proud of the work we're doing right now, there's some discussion about how we equalize funding for education. And we've been doing, the Senate passed a piece of legislation this past session that would try to shift the way that we fund education. And I think we've made more progress over the last 6 months than we've made in the last 10 years. And I think we're really in a position where we're prepared to make some changes to how we fund education. And it's going to be important because no one should have, no one's quality of education should be determined or dictated by their zip code. And you have that. You have vast disparities in how we fund education. And I'm looking forward to having some of those discussions. We've been meeting throughout the summer. Speaker Madigan appointed several members of the House Democratic Caucus to explore some options, and we've been doing that. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity to equalize how we fund education. As you look at the way we fund education now, we've got probably the most regressive system in the entire country. And the way we fund elementary and secondary education is based on property taxes. So that means that if you are a property-rich district, you can provide vastly higher resources than if you're in a property-poor district. You'll have districts where they're spending $6,000 per pupil, and you have other districts that are spending almost $30,000 per student. And that's a very different quality of education. The educators who are in the classroom, they're doing some fantastic work, but they're limited by the resources that they're provided. So we want to give every child the opportunity to have the best education possible.
Well, that's absolutely great legislation, and obviously we need it. Okay, if you're just tuning in again, we are interviewing Illinois State Representative Elgie Sims. I encourage you to join in on the discussion and give us a call. The number is at the bottom of the screen, 312-738-1060. So, are there any points of interest? I always like to ask the different reps and senators that come on. Any points of interest in your district that you like to kind of shout out?
I love every part of my district.
Okay.
It's you've got some really interesting differences in the district. So the northern part of the district is different than the southern part of the district in terms of demographics. But what you'll see is all of them, they all want the same thing basically. They want great schools for the kids, and they want to have a great job so they can take care of their families. They want to be safe. They want to have health care that makes sure that they're protected. That's one of the things I love about the diversity of my district. Is just that you get to get out and you hear the differences from individuals, their different perspectives. Just yesterday, I spent all day in the southern part of the district. I was in Crete and then Grant Park and Momence, talking to business owners and talking to constituents and meeting with them, hearing their concerns. And then today, I was in the northern part of the district talking. We dedicated a new park in the Cottage Grove Heights area. So you've got very different areas, and I love the diversity of the district because it shows really the strength and the beauty of Illinois.
Okay, we have another caller.
Hi, I looked up that piece in the Tribune about you, and it said that you were really harsh with the concealed carry issue. I was just kind of wondering, do you think that our standards are good enough now when it comes to concealed carry, and also do we need any more sort of gun control measures to keep guns out of the hands of criminals and things like that, especially here in Chicago?
Sure. One of the things that the piece mentioned, I did a lot of work in terms of making sure that individuals who are mentally ill, guns stay out of the hands of the mentally ill. We really have to have controls in place that individuals who should not have guns, they shouldn't have them. If you are not able to control yourself, or you're a danger to yourself or others, we want to make sure that we keep the guns out of your hands. And that's really what I strive to make sure that the proposal that we're going to forward, we have to really look at that as a point of contention. And we did a lot of work on it, and we have one of the strongest mental health prohibitions in the entire country. So individuals who are dangerous to themselves or others, we want to keep guns out of their hands. But we also want to make sure that we've got to work on keeping guns out of sensitive places, churches, schools, facilities where they serve alcohol. So while we've got a concealed carry program in place, I don't think we're done.
I agree. I think we have another caller.
Hi, caller.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. I'd like to know currently, where does Illinois stand with victim rights in regards to knowing when someone who's an offender is either up for parole or for release?
Well, caller, I'm glad you asked that question. You're going to have in the November ballot, you're going to have the opportunity to talk about crime victims' rights. There's a crime victims' rights initiative or ballot initiative that's on the November ballot. So I'd invite everyone to look at that initiative and also support it, because it truly makes a difference in terms of crime victims being empowered, making sure that they understand that their government and their government are standing up for them and protecting them, and we really want to do that. So I would invite everyone to look at that ballot initiative and support it, because I think it's the right thing to do.
Okay. Do we have another caller? Okay. All right. Is there anything else you would like to share with your constituents?
Sure. We're doing some wonderful things in the district. I would invite everyone who's a member of the 34th district, or one of my neighbors in the 34th district, to join our office, one of our office advisory committees. Part of what we've been doing in the district is we really like listening to our constituents. We've done mobile office hours in addition to the office hours that I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the office. We do mobile office hours, so we go right to our constituents. So we recently had a town hall meeting and mobile office hours at Sauk Village. We've done them in Peatone, we've done them in Beecher.
So, mobile. So you go to a particular location in a certain area, and you have the constituents come out to you.
Yep.
Closer to them.
Yes, absolutely. We want to meet them where they are.
Okay.
We go out, and the local elected officials, the mayors, the village presidents have been very gracious with us. They've opened up their village halls. They've opened up various places in the townships where we can go, and we'll stay as long as there are constituents there who want to meet us. We'll be there. We answer questions. I'm there. My staff is there.
How frequently are those?
We do those. We do those at least once a month.
Oh, okay.
So it's a different location every time. So this month it was Sauk Village. Next month it may be Calumet City.
Okay.
So we move around the district.
How would your constituents be able to determine where the mobile office hours will be?
We use our website, that website that you talked about. So that's so great. We use that website to publicize all of that information.
Okay.
Everything that we do, every piece of information that comes in our office goes on our website.
So
it's replgsims34.com. That's replgsims34.com.
And we have a couple of callers, I believe.
Okay.
Hey, caller.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
That's good. Hi, good evening, State Rep Sims.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. I was calling. My question is, how close are we to getting an elected school board? I hear an echo back here. That's why I'm hesitating. Sorry.
You have to turn your TV down. Oh, that's why.
Well, as you know, caller, I'm the lead sponsor of the elected school board legislation, and it's one of those items and issues I've been working on since I stepped in the House. I believe that it's time for individuals, parents and students, to have a voice in the decisions that are made regarding their education in the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago is the only school district in the entire state that does not have a representative school board. We've worked on that piece of legislation. I like the prospects and the direction that we're going. Are we there yet? No, but I think more people are talking about it, and it's gaining momentum, and I like where we're going.
Good question, caller. We have another caller.
Hi, Representative.
Hi, caller.
Hi, I would like to see services increase in the state, and I know that around budget time or election time, there's always talk about these services will cut, or taxes will increase, different things like that. I just wanted to know, have you all discussed, or what options are on the table for sustainable revenue sources for the state of Illinois?
Sure. Well, I call a great question. And you hit it right on the head. The point really is it comes down to funding. If government is, it's not we're not the federal. The Illinois state government is not the federal government. We can't print money, so we rely on tax revenues and general and fee revenues for those special state funds. So what we have to do as we maintain funding is to balance the revenues we've got against the expenditures and the programs that we'd like to do. You've heard a lot of discussion recently about is whether or not under the current tax structure do we maintain the current tax rates, or do the current tax rate revert back to their pre-increase levels. So that's a great deal of conversation that we've been having lately. But you've also had some discussion about a fair tax. And I've been a huge proponent of moving our state from a flat tax to a graduated tax, because I think it's the right thing to do. To me, if you have a person who makes $3,000, the 3% of their income hits them vastly different than a person who makes $3 million. It could be the same percentage, but the impact is vastly different. So I think as we move forward, we've got to have some discussion about how we tax people fairly, so that we're not impacting them inappropriately.
Thank you, caller. Okay, we talked about education.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about conceal and carry. We talked about the medical marijuana, and of course your office hours. What else is going on in Springfield that you would like to mention or bring up right now to the constituents?
Well, we go back after the November 4th election. We go back for what's called our fall veto session. Mm-hmm. Our fall veto session starts it's the second week in November, and then we go back the first week of December. And it really will discuss. During that time, we'll talk about any items that the governor has vetoed, and whether or not those vetoes will be overridden or they'll be sustained. And if we override them, then the bills become law. If the veto is sustained, then either the changes that the governor proposed, or the changes that the government proposed become law, or the bill dies in its tracks. So we've got a number of legislative measures that we'll be taking up when we go back. Some very, very interesting legislative measures.
And that's coming up soon.
That's coming up soon. Yes.
We
ma'am.
have time for one more caller. Hi, caller.
Hello.
Hi, caller.
Hello. I'd like to ask y'all a question. I see that when I go to Indiana for gambling, and I see that most of the license plates over there at Horseshoe, it's all Illinois. And also, too, I see that Colorado, too. I know that we got medical marijuana, but now they got recreation marijuana. People, they can smoke it. They don't have to raise taxes. Why don't we wind up open up that old post office where we can get people on the west side and east side and jobs, and get more money, and we all be raising taxes? I'd like to answer that question. Thank you.
So, Carl, I'm not sure I understand the question. I'm going to say what I think I understand. The question was how do we put together a tax structure that takes into account other streams of revenue. I think, again, as I just talked about, what I've been a proponent of for a long time is a graduated income tax. I think it's a more fair structure, but we've got to make sure that what we're doing has the greatest impact on the greatest amount of people. And we're looking at how we have a great economy, have a stronger economy, how we have a great educational system for our kids. Those are the things we've got to be talking about.
Well, we have to get ready to wrap up. I want to congratulate you on your first 2 years.
Thank you.
And the way it's looking, we'll see you around for another 2, and that means you'll be back talking to us and the constituents here at Political Forum. Thank you for coming.
From your lips to God's ears.
All right. Is it anything? You get the last word. Last thing you want to say to the constituents prior to us taking off?
Well, thanks for having me here at Political Forum. Go out and vote. Early voting has already started. There are locations around the city and around the county. We'd love to have you go out and participate. We want you to participate in your electoral process. You know, that's what we have to do as a democratic society. We've got to participate.
All right. Thank you again,
Thanks for having me.
Representative Sims.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.